So I started to do a little stand-up, and then eventually an actor I worked with, Patrick Stack, he and I had done a little review, off-Broadway review together, and we had hit it off, and we were very funny together, at least people told us that, and so we eventually put an act together. We started doing clubs, we got an agent, we went, and a William Morris agent, we went to L.A., and we did some television and opened for rock acts, and so for about a year or two or three, we were this comedy team, and which was a great learning experience. And I became a writer and a director, and we had our little product that we took around. And then I auditioned for a sitcom that was shooting in New York with Mickey Rooney and Dana Carvey called One of the Boys, and I got it. And so I came back to New York, and my partner, he loved L.A., and he decided to stay out there. And we were always actors, and it was being a comedy team was not the ultimate goal. It was sort of just wanting to be seen, and it was a great way to sort of to do that. And so I came back and I did the 13 episodes, and then the show was canceled, and by then I left William Morris. I remember going to I had been up for Little Shop of Horrors, and it had come down to me and my good friend Lee Wilkoff, and Howard Ashman wanted me, and Alan Menken wanted him, and they went with Lee. And so I went to the head of the theater department at William Morris, and I said, look, this is really what I do. It's not, necessarily television, but and I remember her saying to me, why do you want to do theater? And she was the head of the theater department. So I left, and I went with an agent named Jeff Hunter. And the first thing he sent me on was Present Laughter, that George C. Scott was directing and starring in at Circle in the Square. And that was my Broadway debut.
That's got to have been a formidable experience to not only be directed by, but on stage with George C. Scott. What was that like?
Well, it was just thrilling. He was a brilliant actor, and he was very, very, very kind to me. And yes, I'll always remember him and be grateful to him because of his generosity and taking a chance on me. I mean, I really had no big credits, and he gave me a wonderful role, Roland Mall in Present Laughter, and we just had the best time. It was the Broadway debut for a lot of people. Kate Burton, Dana Ivey, Christine Lottie. Kate met her husband, Michael Ritchie, who was the stage manager. It was we've all remained close. It was a great experience.
The next Broadway show, perhaps not as impressive in some books, the late unlamented Merlin, Doug Henning and Chita Rivera.
Right.
What was that show like, since not a lot of us got to see it?
Well, it ran for 10 months. I don't know why. Yeah, why you missed it.
I was in school.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It was, well, for me, as a young man, it was, a big Broadway musical with Chita Rivera, and it seemed like an opportunity, and and it was, just working with the great Chita Rivera, that was worth all the other stuff, all the craziness, and we were in previews forever, and there were all sorts of problems, and they had never, sadly, Doug Henning was a nice gentleman, but he was not a musical comedy star, and because of the success of the Magic Show, I think they felt, well, maybe we in a more traditional book musical, and so he was not able to just play himself. He was supposed to be playing young Merlin, and it was also but he couldn't do an English accent. So I just remember it seemed to be taking place somewhere in Ottawa, and Chita played. She had no name. She was just the evil queen, and I was the son of the evil queen. And I was the comic relief, but Chita and I had a great time together. It was just, and that's really the only time we've worked together. So I'm grateful for that. But it was, No, it was a terrible show. The show didn't work at all. But it was certainly a huge spectacle. I mean, it was Robin Wagner, Theone Aldridge, and Theron Musser. The same team brought you a chorus line. It was this, this gorgeous. There was huge sets, and it was very expensive, I think, for the time, and the notion that it was kind of this sort of fairy tale, but it just didn't work at all.
And your character was Prince Fergus. Was he involved in any of the magic tricks, or was he just, as you say, the comic relief?
No, I was just, thankfully...
You didn't have to learn magic?
No, although they made you sign a magic clause that you wouldn't reveal how tricks were done. Of course, to daiquiris, I tell you anything. What?
Is there a statute of limitations on that?
Yeah, stop.
Should we know?
Stop. Howard, you just stepped on my joke. Anyway, it was, no, I didn't have to do any magic, other than try to make some of the jokes work. So, but it was, for me, look, I sort of, even though I knew it wasn't working, I had a blast working with Cheetah, and it was a really nice group of people.
And there was a great quote that I read from you saying that Doug Henning's greatest trick was making the audience disappear.
Did I say that? There are many things attributed to me that I've never said, but okay.
You'll take credit for that.
Okay.
I was struck and looking at all the work you've done and all of the amazing people you've worked with, that following Merlin, you were in a production of She Stoops to Conquer, which certainly had one of the most interesting casts I've ever heard of. E.G. Marshall, Kay Ballard, and Tova Feldshuh.
Yeah.
What was that production like?
It was, I had a great time doing it. I loved working with Kay. And Tova was great, and there was one of those times when the roundabout they were between theaters, and we were working at, I think, Pace University at a theater there, and what was nice about it was I believe it was the first time Jerry Zaks saw me in that, and I remember him telling me later, he thought it was very funny, and I loved it. I loved that play. I loved, it was an eclectic group, though.
Well, moving ahead a couple of years, a show that was quite the opposite of Merlin, was a big, big success, was the revival of Guys and Dolls, where you played Nathan Detroit.
Yes.
How did that come about for you? How did you become Nathan Detroit? And there's a tie-in to your name with Nathan Detroit, of course.
Yes. An audition, I had auditioned for Jerry many times, but he wouldn't give me a job. And then, it was after I had done a play called The Lisbon Traviata, Terrence McNally play, and I had a success with that, and so in that moment of momentary success, he invited me to be a part of a workshop that was the first workshop of Assassins, and so that was the first time we had worked together, and we had a great time. And then when I auditioned, and then a long period went by, and I think they were obviously they were trying to pair people, the two couples, and depending on age and so forth, and so It took a long time, and then thankfully he said, I want you to do this, and I was thrilled out of my head.
And of course, you were paired with Faith Prince, who played
Yes.
Miss Adelaide, so it was a very good pairing there, the two of you.
Oh, it was great. It was great. She and I had worked together on a sort of dodgy revival of Bad Habits, another Terrence McNally play at Manhattan Theater Club, and it hadn't gone so well. And although I loved her, I mean, she was hilarious and wonderful, and she had just had this success. Even though Nick and Nora hadn't gone so well, she was sort of singled out as being one of the high points, and she had a great success with Jerome Robbins Broadway, and so. It was a wonderful pairing. I mean, it's just one of those things you never know what's going to happen, but in terms of chemistry, and it was just magical with her.
So when you're going through the process of auditioning for the job, do they pair you with the actress that's going to be playing opposite, or several different?
No, I never. No,
so you didn't have to read with it. They just cast the two of you individually and said, "We know they're going to work well together." basically.
Yeah, I think he just felt we would, and no, I had just gone in that one time.